Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my home studio. This is Annie from MP, Mindful Palette Movement Practitioner, Milwaukee Proud. I welcome you back. I thank the Milwaukee Recreation Department for helping us to stay connected. Hopefully the volume is okay today. I know I'm near the screen and the speaker, so maybe if I'm back here, hopefully it's still good. I appreciate your patience as we've worked out some of those volume issues with switching to a new device here and having all the controls set correctly. So hopefully things are good. We are in our yoga zone class today. So in this practice today, we are going to focus on legs. So we've often focused on hips. This is going to be a little bit different. It's hard to work on legs without getting into hips in some way. But with this practice, what I had in mind was to strengthen and stretch those muscles. So we'll certainly, you'll certainly feel some things in the hips, but more strengthening the quadriceps, stretching the hamstrings, might work on the calves a little bit. So some strength work there. Let's see, are we, yay, okay, it looks like volume is good. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate your feedback. Okay, cool. Good. So, again, I thank you for bringing yourself to your mat today on this yet another gorgeous day. We've had some wonderful days here, and I'm trying to soak them all in. I'm hoping that at one point I can take this outside to the deck. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. I've got some things in mind, but we'll see. One day at a time. It's nice to be in the studio here for now, and we'll just go with it. So. I invite you to bring yourself to a comfortable seated position to start. Maybe you have your props, your blocks, or a strap nearby. If you need to take a moment to grab those, go ahead and do that. And so as we begin, I'm going to place a block underneath my hips just to lift up my sit bones a little bit. Actually, not so much under my hips, but under the sit bones. And then allow those knees to drop open. I feel that when I put this block underneath, I can find a taller spine and I'm not feeling so compressed. So perhaps you might have some luck with that, and you can experiment and see if that works for you. Remember, we're all built differently, so different things work for different people. Do what works best for you, and remember those props are there for you to recognize how much you know, how much better you know your body than I do. So props never mean anything about you're not as good with your back, whatever. Props are good for bringing the floor up to you, for getting deeper into a pose, for helping to stretch in different ways. So use those to your advantage. All right. So just maybe let out a breath, give a sigh, find that tall spine. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you, or you could gaze at the floor in front of you. Putting behind you anything that happened this week. Putting aside that to-do list, waiting for you later. It'll be there. Just leave it to the side for now. Opening up the heart and mind to the possibilities in this day, in this coming weekend. Knowing that there are possibilities if we stay open to them, but then bringing ourselves right back here to this moment. Notice your breath. Notice if you can take a deeper or longer breath and find the path of that breath. Maybe you have a visual, maybe it's a straight line and that in-breath travels all the way up to the crown of your head, where it takes a slight pause before turning into and exhalation, traveling down to the base of the spine, where it pauses again before turning into the next round of breath. So just gently follow that line or that orbit or whatever shape or even color or texture that you associate with your breath. Take one more round of breath. And I invite you to bring your hands to heart center. You can keep your eyes closed. Start to create some heat here as we rub these hands together in a circle or up and down, just making a little bit of heat. And then gently take those hands that are now warm and cup them over the eyes. Opening the eyes back up, adjusting to the light of your space, and gently let those hands fall away. And then if you have that block under the sit bones, you can remove that now. And we'll begin to warm up the spine. First, let's just start by making some circles here through the hips. So again, getting into legs today, so we are gonna acknowledge the hips, just not focusing so much on those hips as we do the quads, hamstrings. We can put glutes in there as well with our leg work today. Let's take it in the opposite direction. Maybe you inhale as you come around to the back and exhale forward. However you're moving, stay with that breath, find some kind of rhythm. Let's take 2 more circles. And all the way back up. Send those arms straight up to the sky. Really reach up. Maybe this is your first big stretch today. It definitely seems to be mine. Reaching up, drop those shoulders away from the ears as you continue to reach those fingers towards the sky, lengthening the spine. Pull that navel in. And then exhale, hands down to heart center. Let's take some intentional breaths here, not an actual pranayama, but some mindful breathing. So inhale up, gather that good energy. Exhale, maybe you take it out through the mouth. Inhale, fill the lungs. Exhale it out. Let's take one more. Arms up to the sky once more. Breathe in. And let's gently fold forward. Just take your time here. Creeping those fingers forward. Keep anchoring those sit bones on the earth. Reach the crown of that head forward. Exhale, melt the heart down. Next in-breath brings you back up. Let's keep those arms moving and direct those fingers towards the glutes. Breathe in, open the chest, walk those shoulder blades together. Exhale, release. Let's take those arms back up. Exhale over to the right. Reach through those fingers. Maybe you take a look towards the inner elbow, noticing how that changes the stretch for you. Back up to the center on an in-breath. And then we exhale, take it to the other side. Reach through those fingers, maybe shift that shoulder back. And again, you can take that gaze up to that inner elbow. Back up to the sky. Big breath in. And then let's twist to that first side. In your next in-breath, find that tall spine again. And exhale, deepen the twist, starting at the base of the spine. Head is the last thing to come around. Inhale back to the center. And exhale to the other side. One more breath in, find that length. Exhale, deepen. And back up. And let's shake these arms all the way out. And then we'll gently start to bring these legs out. Let's give them a little shake here. Begin to give them some attention and I don't want to say warning, but say, hey, we're about to work with you, legs. So letting them know that I'm going to get things moving here. All right, let's just point and flex those feet. Just notice how that feels. When you bring those toes toward you and then send them away. Try to keep that tall spine as you move here. So noticing how that feels for the quadriceps. When you point, how that feels for the calves or the hamstrings. Let's take one more round. Inhale and exhale. And then we'll begin to bring this first leg into the body. So this is the left leg if I'm mirroring you. And we'll take it in here. And you can even bring that foot in and cradle that leg. So yes, working into the hip a little bit. And we'll rest that ankle on the leg here. So if that does not feel good to place that foot right across the leg, just above the knee, you can certainly let it rest on the earth with the sole of the foot touching the upper thigh, or the inner thigh. It's the thigh, the inner thigh. And then we'll gently bring that left hand to the left knee. Find some length here again. And just press that leg open. Noticing the strength in the core as you pull that navel in. Bringing this knee back in. We'll make a little basket underneath this first foot. You could also use your strap if you want to. We're going to take a stretch with this leg, stretching into the hamstring. So bring it in here to the chest. Take a big breath in, roll those shoulders back, and then exhale, start to send that heel out. So there's a good chance that that leg on this first stretch will be quite bent, and that's okay. So use your breath to go deeper. So inhale and lengthen that spine. And then exhale, send that heel away. See if you can find a little bit more length with each round of breath. And slowly bring that leg back down. So we're going to take this leg out to the side. If you want to use that strap for this next part, you could. Otherwise, I invite you to bring those peace fingers to the big toe. And you can let this hand give you some support on this side as a kickstand, or whatever else might feel right for you here. So now we begin to raise this leg up. You can stay right here, lengthening that out, or you could start to bring it out to the side. So this might be determined by the length of the arm. Some people have a shorter torso and long legs, and so there is some difference between different proportions, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So if this doesn't work for you to reach for that toe, that's okay. You can use the strap, or you could even hold on to ankle or your pants or something. So you decide what works, and then maybe work on bringing that out a little bit more. So again, yeah, we are feeling it in the hip, perhaps. There's a good chance. But also thinking about bringing that quadricep muscle up and in towards the torso. Think about sending the back of the knee away from you. And keep finding that tall spine as you breathe in, and then exhale, press through that heel and press the back of that knee away. And then gently guide this leg back in and fold it down, and let's shake that out. So there are all different ways to experience this posture. You find what works for you today. If there's something else completely, go for it. Okay, we're bringing this other leg in. Give it a little hug to begin. And then start to bring this foot across, and we'll just get into that hip a little bit here as we cradle the leg, rock it back and forth. And then again, you can place that foot across the other leg. or you can bring it down to the side. So wherever you are, if you're here, you might not be pressing so much on that knee as just sitting upright and letting that knee drop away. I didn't say that on the other side. But maybe you just want to rest the sole of that foot on the inner thigh here and press that knee. So you decide what would be better for you. Maybe you want to challenge yourself and go a little bit deeper with that foot crossed over the leg. And we'll bring this knee in. And then we're making that basket under the foot or using your strap if you wish. Take a breath in, find that tall spine, and then exhale, send that heel out. Use the breath to go deeper. So my knee is quite bent on this first one. I'm going to take another breath in and lengthen my spine, and then exhale, press just a millimeter more through that heel. One more round of breath. And then slowly guide that leg back down. Taking those peace fingers here, wrapping them around the big toe, or grabbing that to ankle, pants, using a strap. It's up to you. Find that tall spine once again. Breathe in. And then we'll send this heel out on an exhale. And then use your breath to bring that out to the side as much as you wish. Again, think about pressing the back of that knee away from you. And pressing that heel away. And can you lift that leg higher? So lots of strength here happening through that quadricep muscle. Maybe feeling that nice stretch through the hamstring. Keep the breath moving. It's tempting to kind of seize up the breath and just focus on getting into this posture and this shape. That breath is more important than achieving any great lengths here. And then we'll slowly bring that leg back in and guide it down and shake those legs out. So I'm going to turn to the side for this next part so you can see. Taking a variation on a forward fold here. This is going to be a deeper stretch for those hamstrings. So again, variations. If you want to just take a regular forward fold, you could use that strap and wrap it around the balls of the feet. And then just remember to think about lengthening that spine as we come up and out of the hips. Okay, keep it instead of punching over, trying to send that heart forward. So you can take a regular forward fold. If you want to go a little bit deeper and challenge yourself a little bit more, and check in with yourself on what you need today. Again, what is your intention? Did we forget to set our intention? Let's take a moment to think about what we need here in this posture. And so I'm going to take my right arm and thread it underneath my thighs, and then the left and thread it under. So again, if this is too much, just skip it and take a regular forward fold. But because we're working so much on legs today, I wanted to give you something a little bit more intense as an option. So I have my knees, I can start with my knees a little bit bent, and I'm kind of hugging, it's like I'm hugging my upper legs. Okay, so you can start here. Again, think about pressing that heart forward and lengthening the spine. Then, I'm going to gradually start to creep my heels out. And I might also press the back of those knees into the arms. So keep thinking about that long spine as you press here. Roll those shoulders back. Hold onto those elbows if you're taking this posture. Keep creeping those heels out, pressing the back of the knees towards the arms. One more breath in. Exhale, release. So if you've never found that stretch before, it can be quite intense. So just another variation on a forward fold. We're going to take another one, but threading the arms in the opposite direction. Doesn't make that much of a difference because we are getting an intense stretch either way, but because we like to balance here in yoga, let's just make sure that we take the other side. So now I'm threading that left arm under first and then the right arm, or whatever was the opposite of what you did last time. So starting here with the knees really bent, starting to press that chest forward so I can lengthen that spine, and then I'm creeping those heels out and pressing the back of those knees towards the arms. So this can be a very intense stretch for the whole back of the leg, down to the calves. One more breath in, and then slowly release and shake those legs out. All right. So from here, we're going to bring those legs to the side and start to find our way into tabletop position, moving into our next pranayama or mindful breathing exercise. So first aligning wrists, elbows, and shoulders, and taking those hips over the knees, and then just relaxing into a neutral spine. Find your way here first through cat-cow before we start breathing more mindfully. Just notice how this feels right now for the back. Maybe this is a little bit of relief after we stretched those legs so intensely. So keep that moving here. Excuse me. And then find your way to neutral. And we'll begin moving through our 3-part complete Dirga breath. So in your next inhalation, dip that belly down, bend the ribs, and then lead with the chest. Exhale, pull the belly in, pull the ribs in, and tuck the chest under. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, belly, ribs, chest. Take one more here, belly, ribs, chest. And then belly, ribs, chest. And then we'll begin to stretch into the legs once again. So take that right leg, send it back, press through the heel. Notice that beautiful stretch through the calf, the bottom of the foot. Maybe you even feel some engagement here in the quadricep. Let's raise that leg up. You can take that opposite arm and reach long here, balancing. Breath in, and then as you exhale, take that leg and that arm out to opposite sides. So you might feel it in the glute, you might feel strength through that quadricep. Flex that foot, send it back, and all the way in. We'll take it to the other side. Stretching that left leg back, first just pressing through that heel, noticing that stretch through the calf. And then raise that leg up, we'll send that other arm out, balancing here. Breath in, and then exhale, take opposite arm and leg into our awkward pose. Back to center, and all the way down. Let's widen those knees, send those hips back to the heels, stretch those arms out, and just take a few breaths here in child's pose. And so I did neglect to invite you to set that intention at the beginning. Maybe you already did that. Maybe you have made that part of your centering. So if you haven't taken a moment to think about what you need for this practice, please set your intention now. Or maybe if you did set an intention, things have changed, and that is perfectly fine. And then come back up to those knees. We're going to walk these hands out ahead of us just a little bit. Tuck the toes and send those hips up to downward facing dog. So once you arrive, let's pedal out these feet. Press through the heels. Maybe you want to walk those feet in closer to the hands. Notice how that changes the placement of the heels. You could go up onto those toes. Dip those knees way down. Shift heels back and forth, whatever would feel good in this first downward facing dog. And then find the feet about hip width apart. And we're going to bring those knees down, hovering here in kind of a bear pose. So strengthening those quadriceps. 2 more breaths. Send hips high. Bring those knees down again. Hover for a couple of breaths. Send those hips high. And then we'll walk those feet in towards the hands a little bit. Bring those feet be a little wider
almost the width of your mat. And we'll take this right hand and reach across to the left calf. You can gaze under your left arm. Press through those heels. Those heels might not be touching. Walk those feet in so the heels can touch. Press the back of the back of the knees behind you. Strength through the legs. And place that hand back down. Shift it back and forth if you need to, and then we'll take it to the other side. So lifting up that left arm, reaching for that right calf, gazing under the right armpit. Press through those heels. Strength through the legs once again. Keep your breath moving. And then place that hand back down. We'll walk those feet back to that regular downward facing dog. We'll take 2 more of those bear poses. So bring those knees down. Take a couple rounds of breath. Send hips high. Bring the knees down again. And send those hips high. Let's take the knees all the way down, widen them, move those hips back to the heels. Take a couple of breaths in child's pose. And then we'll bring those hands back out, come to those hands and knees. Send hips to the sky again for downward facing dog. Raise that right leg up on an in-breath. And then exhale, bring it forward into a low lunge. So you can have that back knee down. I like to steady myself first with those blocks. So that front knee is over the ankle. That back knee is on the earth. Reaching behind. So if you can get that back knee behind the hip, you can get a deeper stretch through that quadricep, and then maybe you're feeling it in the other quadricep as well. So take a moment here to find your stability. Maybe you want to bring hands to hips or to the thigh. You could also bring hands up. I invite you to bring that back knee off the mat if you want into this more of a balanced pose here and leg strengthener. And so you could also take this not quite as deep into more of a high lunge. This is a low lunge just with that knee lifted. So it's a variation of that high lunge, but it's a little bit deeper. One more breath in, reach up. Bring those hands back down. Let's bring that knee back down and then shift into our half splits here. So sending those hips back, stretching through the hamstring. Really sink those hips down. You might even reach out for those toes. Reach the crown of the head forward as you breathe in. Exhale, fold, keeping the length in that spine. And then we'll shift back to the front. We're going to walk this right foot out to the side here into our lizard pose. So you could stay right here with that foot walked out to the side. Maybe you roll to the outer blade of that front foot. You could have your hands or your forearms on these blocks as you lower down or on the earth. Another option here would be to bring that back knee off. Really send that energy through that back heel so we're getting a giant stretch through the quadricep, maybe feeling it through the hip or the glute. Last option would be to bring this top arm around behind the back. So you can take any bits or pieces of this posture that you wish. And then bring it back to center, sort of deconstruct. Walk that foot back in to the center here. And we're going to frame that front foot and step the left foot up to meet the right. So let's just hang here, rock back and forth. Take a deep fold. Let any negative thoughts pour out of the top of your head here. Just let that go. And then we'll start to bend those knees slightly and roll all the way up. When you feel those shoulders starting to come back, let those arms follow. Reach up to the sky. Inhale. And exhale, hands down to heart center. In your next breath here, we're going to sink those hips down into a chair pose. So before we get too comfortable, let's just make sure we've got our attention on a few points. So we want to be able to see those toes in front of the knees. So if your knees are out here, shift back so that the knees may not be right over the ankles, but they're behind the toes. You want to be able to wiggle those toes. If you find you have a big arch in the back, take that arch out of the back and then sink those hips down. You could have your hands at heart center, they could be out to the side. Maybe you want those biceps by the ears, more strength through the arms. Direct those shoulder blades down the back. Sink a little deeper here, strengthening those legs. Find your center. Find a place where you can really take some deep breaths, focusing on that strength, focusing on your intention. One more breath in. Let it go. And then come back up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take another round of breath here. And then when you're ready, we sink down into another chair. So check those points again. Toes in front of the knees. Sink those hips back. Take the arch out of the lower back. And then where do you have your hands? Can you raise that chest up slightly? Notice where you have the weight. Is it in your heels? Let's see if we can bring that weight to the balls of the feet. Maybe go up on the toes. Still keeping those knees behind the toes so we can see those toes. But finding strength here through the legs, through the calves. Go a little higher on the toes. Sink the hips down a little bit more. Lower those heels down. Let's come all the way back up. And exhale, hands to heart center. We'll take one more chair. So when you're ready, we sink those heels, sink the hips back. Once more, take that arch out of the lower back. Let's wiggle those toes. And this time we'll take a breath in. And then exhale, bring that left elbow towards the right leg. It might touch. You can use a block if you want. You can simply twist in that direction, but if you can hook that elbow on the knee, go ahead and try that. And then you might press those palms together so they meet at heart center, deepening that twist, gazing towards the upper elbow. One more breath in. Slowly release. We'll take it right to the other side. So inhale in the center, exhale, twist. And again, if you can hook that elbow, fine. Press the palms together maybe. Hands meet at heart center. Gazing towards that upper elbow. One more breath in, release, and then take it out to the sky. And hands down to heart. Let's shake these legs out. Finding our next pranayama here. We're going to find mountain pose for this pranayama. So just bring those feet straight down from the hips, tucking the tailbone. Bring those shoulders back. Maybe you open up the palms. Working on our Ujjayi breath. So this is that breath, that oceanic breath, the victorious breath that we use to string together all of the postures in our asana practice. So we take that breath in through the nose, and then it's out through the nose, constricting that throat slightly, letting the air pass over the back of the throat, steaming up that little mirror at the back of the throat. One more breath. Let it go. And hands to heart. So from here, we're going to step those feet wide, so more than hip width apart, and then turn out those toes. And then our next step is to drop those hips down, send that tailbone straight down into the earth. Notice where the knees are in relation to your feet. So if you find that your knees are here and your toes are way out, either take the turnout of your toes and bring it in a little bit, or see if you can wrap those knees wider. So the point is to try to get those knees to track towards the toes.
Okay, so adjust your turnout accordingly. So you can stay here in this goddess squat with hands at heart center. You might bring those hands to goddess arms. You might have them out to the side. You could bring them up into a mudra, whatever you wish, whatever allows you to balance here. And then sink those hips down a little bit more. Think about driving that tailbone straight down into the earth. Keep broad collarbone. Wrap those knees towards the back. Maybe we lift the toes and then place them back down. And we could lift one heel and press it back down. We could lift the other heel and let it go back down. And then maybe we lift both heels. Sink that tailbone a little bit deeper. Balancing here, so find a steady gazing point. So we're strengthening those quads. The glutes are firing up. Keep your breath moving. One more breath in. Release, come all the way back up. Let's take a big breath in. Exhale it out. And we're just going to heel toe these feet together here. Take your time. And once you arrive in that central Samasthiti, that equal standing pose, let's take a breath in, reach up for the sky. Exhale, let's float down. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold, plant those hands, and let's step back. I'm just turning to the side so you can see me better. Step back one foot at a time. Pausing here in plank. And then we'll lower down either knees, chest, chin, or shift forward and lower through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale up to Cobra or Upward Facing Dog if you're ready. Exhale, lower. Tuck toes, send hips to Downward Facing Dog. We'll bend the knees, look towards the hands. Step with that right foot leading towards the top of your mat, folding forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, hands to the heart. We'll take one more, leading with the left foot this time when we step back. So inhale up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold, plant those hands. Step back with the left foot here. And then lower down either knees, chest, chin, or shift forward, lower through that reverse push-up. Inhale through Cobra or Upward Facing Dog. Tuck those toes, send hips up to Downward Facing Dog. And then let's bring those knees wide once again. Send hips back to the heels, pausing here in Child's Pose, wide legs. When you're ready, we stretch onto our bellies. Make your way onto your back. And let's bring those knees into the chest. And just rock back and forth. You can have those hands, those arms in a T, if you wish. And let those knees stay over to the left side there. Maybe really squeeze those knees together. You could place a block between or under the knees. Option to straighten that top leg, pressing through the heel, getting a deeper stretch through the hip. Bend that leg back in if you straightened it. Let's bring those knees to center and then gently exhale as we take them over to the other side. Same thing here, or maybe not the same, but same posture that I'm inviting you to enter. So notice if you need more support on this side with a block, or if it feels better or not so great, or you don't have space, like I do, to take that leg straight on the top there. Back to center. Let's place those feet down. And now I invite you to bring that right leg to cross over the left, lifting those feet off the earth, reaching for those feet, those toes, the pants, the ankles, and bring those feet in towards the body, stretching into those hips. And then slowly release. Take those feet as wide as the mat. Let's swish those knees back and forth. And then once you find that center next, cross the left leg over the right. Bring those feet off the earth. Reach down and bind those toes, ankles,
grab the pants, whatever is accessible to you today. Bring that in towards the body. Relax those shoulder blades on the mat. Take some deep breaths here. And slowly release. Uncross those legs, bring feet as wide as the mat, and let's swish back and forth once again. And then I invite you to bring the soles of the feet together. Let those knees come wide. Open up those legs. Notice that stretch. And we'll move into our last pranayama of our practice. So I invite you to bring hands to the belly. Moving into our 4-7-8 breath. This is a good one for working through anxiety or depression, even insomnia. In your next round, let's take an inhalation for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath here for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale like you're blowing out through a straw for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale through that straw. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take one more round of that 4-7-8 breath at your own pace. And then when you are ready, you could stretch into that final relaxation pose in Shavasana. If there are any other stretches that you would like to take before that, take a moment to do that. Otherwise, stretch out, or maybe staying with those knees wide is preferable to you for your final relaxation. So find what works for you. Maybe you can work any other tension out of your body. The breath is just moving normally here. And remember, you can always take this Shavasana beyond the close of our practice. Take as long as you need. It's important to allow this practice to integrate. And we never quite have enough time. These practices we've been doing over the months are a little shorter than in person. So I try to bring you the most that I can, and allowing you this space to integrate as long as you need at home. Begin to bring your attention back to your space. Find some gentle movement in those hands and feet. You could take a full body stretch. Breathing in, maybe exhaling, wrapping hands around those knees. Make your way to one side of your mat. Take another breath there. And when you're ready, press up to a seated position where we began. I invite you to bring your hands to heart center. No matter where you are on your journey, this week, this year, or in this whole lifetime, I thank you for pausing this morning to share this practice with me and with all of us. The light, love, and peace in me recognizes and honors the light, love, and peace in each of you. Namaste. Thank you for coming to your mats. I hope you have a wonderful day. Just so you know, our in-person classes commence or recommence next week. So this is at Beulah Britton Community Center through the Milwaukee Recreation Department. You may not be ready to come back in person. That is perfectly fine. That is completely understandable. I will be there for several classes. I have information about that if you want. Know that we have these 2 classes, Mondays at 9 o'clock and Thursdays at 9 o'clock, still running through the summer, so that you have access to a community practice in some way if you do not choose to come back in person. So I'm grateful that people are listening to their bodies and doing what feels best for them at this time. So if you have any other questions about that, please let me know, drop me a message, and I will get you more information. Thank you.